All right. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Marty.
My cousins say hello.
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 Really strong breakfast.
What's shaking?
Coasties?
Bacon?
Nothing.
Love you too. All right. I'll just get rid of this part. I don't
Oh,
need to
yeah,
keep this
absolutely.
in. Or unless the fans really care where I'm recording. But welcome back to Three Girls,
Hi.
One Track.
Well,
I'm
hello.
Afsa.
I'm Felicia.
I'm Bex.
And listeners, I gotta say, this for our first race review, you can also be called viewers because we're on camera today.
Hi.
You can go look at us on our YouTube account and go watch us. Three Girls, One Track everywhere you can find us.
Okay.
So
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I was gonna say don't get used to it but maybe we can
Okay,
get used to
Bex.
it.
yeah,
Maybe.
we'll see. It'll be hit or
I'll
miss.
try.
I'll
I'll
be
try
hit or
Welcome to
miss.
myself.
Bex's Bayang.
Yes, not the buyer.
Y'all stop playing with me and my bangs, okay?
Nobody's playing with you. You set yourself up for this meme.
It's the Bayang.
Anyway, we are covering the Australian Grand Prix this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, I liked the race.
I enjoyed.
I enjoyed myself.
I enjoyed.
I think I enjoyed myself because I came in with really low expectations, and so they exceeded my expectations by a mile. So I will say that. But for those who may be new and are listening for the first time, because it's a new race season, we normally cover off our Project Runway, and what not to wear off the top. Those are us going through what the drivers and sometimes driver-associated parties have worn to the paddock this weekend. Project Runway, as you would expect, high fashion.
We love
our
it.
favorite looks. What not to wear, it could use some work. So for once, we're all prepared. Everybody came with their thing. And so I can go first.
Go for it.
The same person actually holds both my Project Runway and my What Not to Wear.
How?
And it is Sir Lewis Hamilton. My Project Runway is his red tracksuit number. Would it be a Project Runway on a normal weekend? No.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing going on in this paddock fashion-wise this weekend. Mm-hmm. And so I have to give Lewis his red tracksuit. I thought it was at least cute. I liked that he kept a red theme throughout the weekend. Mm-hmm. You know, we love a good Sue Sylvester moment. And so it was like Sue Sylvester inspired. So I'll take it. He also gets my What Not to Wear for that flannel number.
Mm-hmm. That was terrible.
See, the thing is, I think that if he had made that flannel, and it's hot in Australia too, right? It's fall, it's warm.
Yes.
I think if he had made that flannel number a cropped flannel number with oversized jeans, I could almost be into it. I don't like that it comes down to his hips.
Yeah, it's too long.
I feel like if he had made it cropped, I'd almost be like, okay, this is just another Lewis showing his belly moment.
Yeah.
Unbutton it and crop it, and it's like, okay, a cute little flannel shrug. But I didn't appreciate this outfit. I also thought that the weave of the denim was like weirdly big, so it was making the denim look a lighter wash than it actually was in like certain parts of the jeans, which I thought was just like looked strange. But shout out to Lewis for getting both, I guess.
Well, I'm going to take over because I'm going to jump off from where you ended, and my What Not to Wear is also going to be Lewis in that plaid. It was ugly. It was ill-fitting. Well, not ill-fitting, I should say. Proportion-wise, doesn't work for him. Sometimes I do think he forgets he is a shorter man. But yeah, it just doesn't work proportion-size in my preference, I guess. But along the same line of thought, I'm going to move over to another short king on the grid and give my Project Runway to Yuki Tsunoda. That black Red Bull jacket, really nice.
I kind of want that jacket.
I did enjoy that.
I don't necessarily want the jacket, but I think it's really nice and it works well. And I'm like, I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Lewis's brown ensemble that he had. I believe it was for one of the practice. I think it was,
Second
for
practice day.
It looked really cute, but it was nice. But I don't think I've seen Lewis do better, so I wasn't gonna give him project on it, but I'll give him honorable mention. But yeah, Yuki, props to you because you were probably the only one actually doing work, actually dressing up and doing anything worth mentioning. So shout out to him.
I did really like that Red Bull jacket, not gonna lie. Okay, so I'm going to pick, since y'all both picked my tops, I'm gonna go to my next level. And my what not to wear is gonna be Lando Norris with this gray jacket because it just looks, it doesn't even give distress, it gives
the one where
wrinkled
he's
and
not wearing a
overwashed.
jacket. Sorry, the one where he's not wearing a shirt under.
Because it looks like it's been, I don't even know, like, you know when you put something in the washing machine and then it comes out all disfigured and like ashy looking? That's what this sweater is giving. I'm sorry, it does. But then, okay, so my Project Runway is going to go off grid to Pierre Gasly's girlfriend, Kika.
Love her.
I loved her little white ensemble that she had on. I think she looked absolutely adorable, and so she will be my Project Runway because originally it was going to be Lewis in the brown. Just gonna say that. And my what not to wear would have been Lewis in that plaid because I hate that thing. But anyway, I will take Kika and Lando.
Wow. All right. Well, not very fashionable. Hopefully they pull it together next week.
Hopefully.
Praying that happens. But we can move on to news that we got this week. And I have a couple pieces. Feel free to hop in with your pieces as well. My first news, I feel like we talked about it in our Drive to Survive 7 recap, which admittedly has not dropped yet. So listener, you may or may not have seen it at this point.
Probably not.
Probably not. But Oscar got a quote-unquote multi-year contract. So shout out to Oscar, I guess. After the way they disrespected him this race, I don't know if he should have signed that contract, but I'm happy you're getting paid. I'm always happy that you're getting a check, Oscar. I'm happy you're getting a check. That's all I have to say about that. All right, my second piece of news, and this one, like, I think it's like a nothing burger, but also like it got asked about. Apparently, Toto has yet to offer George a contract renewal, even though his contract runs out at the end of the year. When Toto was asked about it, let me find exactly what Toto said, because like it was not bad, but just a little bit like, why would you say that? Let's see, what do we have here? When asked about whether or not he had offered George a new contract, Toto said, "At the moment, that's not on my radar, and I don't plan to shift my concentration away from these guys." And I'm like, but the these guys includes George.
Includes the one who you didn't offer the contract to.
Yeah, I think you can focus on both at the same time. You ain't got a contract department whip itself up.
Ooh.
Like, I don't think that George is getting booted from Mercedes anytime soon. I'm sure they'll keep him, but like, I just don't know why Toto would say that.
Toto is keeping
his options
open. You know, short leash. Like, hey, just in case this goes down. To be honest, I think like he'll keep George as long as George does what he's supposed to do. Yeah. Like, I think if George starts losing, not scoring, not getting any points, I think that might be, he wants to keep his options open and make sure that there's nothing coming down, or there's no one coming down the pipeline that he can like snag.
Yeah.
You know, I think he harbors a lot of resentment that he lost out on Max.
Yeah.
All those years ago. And he doesn't want to make the same mistake.
No, for real. But yeah, I thought that was a little interesting. And then up next, we have McLaren asking about Max Verstappen's contract. This was confirmed by both Max and Zach.
Max confirmed it.
Max confirmed that Zach had called his management, basically being like, hey, what would it take to get Max?
What you doing?
But both agree that it was like a very short-lived call, and then Zach decided to go with their current lineup for the long-term future, which I think implies that he meant like that's why Oscar got his multi-year contract. like, okay, we decided to stick on with Oscar.
That's
But
shitty.
yeah, you're right. But I thought it was really funny because when Max was asked about it, he was like, "Oh, as soon as they heard the amount of money they'd have to pay me,
Mhm.
the call was done quickly after."
He was just like, "Ain't got it. We ain't got it."
Yeah, like I don't think they want to pay for Max Verstappen. Max, big money Verstappen. I don't know if they're there for that one.
I don't think any team on the grid really could, except for Red Bull.
I'm sure Ferrari could pay. Ferrari could pay.
I think they could.
I
don't know if they
Ferrari
want
could pay.
to.
Well,
McLaren
now
also
they
could
probably
pay him, but I don't think McLaren's in the business of paying drivers $100 million.
I think Mercedes could if they wanted
Oh,
to.
totally. And Toto would.
Yeah. Yeah, Toto would.
Toto would.
That's fine.
Let Red Bull get fourth in the constructors. Oh, Toto's opening that pocketbook up quick to sign a check for Max.
Yeah.
However much money you need, I got
He
it.
probably has a blank check waiting for him.
Yeah, he literally does. I'm sure. All right, my last piece of news, and then I'll check if you guys have any news, is I'm sure that you noticed that we have new F1 graphics this year.
I like
and I'm
them.
sure. Oh,
no. Oh, hold on. Well, no, I do like them.
You like that flat, ugly ass text box they call a timing screen?
Wait, what?
Because that thing is a Microsoft text box.
Which one are you talking about?
The one that has the list of names.
Oh,
remember how it used to be kind of
I'm
dimensional and stuff?
I'm talking about the intro and then the racetrack graphics.
Okay, I'll give you that those are.
I wasn't
same
talking about the lineup graphic. No.
So people all weekend, and people includes me.
Yeah.
People includes me have been complaining about the graphics in race. So there is the timing side, which I don't like because it literally looks like somebody took a black Microsoft rectangle and then just did some very basic PowerPointing and then slapped it on the screen. And I'm like, guys, you pay people too much for this.
They did.
Then there's the radio graphic, which I am okay with the stylizing changes that they've done. What I'm not okay with is that they made the little voice amplitude meter so prominent that now it's abundantly obvious that it does not match what's going on in the radio. And I'm like, when it was little, it was like
a little thing on the side.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. But now it's the big bars, and I'm like, the radio's silent and the bars are going haywire. And I'm like, what? Why did they do this if it wasn't an actual amplitude meter? And then also the pit stop graphics, I feel like they were messed up. I feel like I wasn't seeing people's pit stop times.
No.
I wasn't.
I remember seeing 2 pit stop times.
But also, one thing I noticed with the I don't know if it wasn't necessarily the graphics, but it's when they're talking about something, it won't be what's on the screen.
Yeah.
They're not matching the commentators and what they're talking about and what they're there was one time when they were saying something about Kimi Antonelli, but I'm looking at a Sauber. I was like, what is that about?
Yeah, they had a couple issues this weekend. So hopefully they get it all fixed by China, but yeah, I was questioning a lot. A lot of things while I was doing that. Any other news from the girly pops? Anything that caught your eye this weekend?
The news that caught my eye, we're going to talk about with the race.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think you kind of covered most.
Alrighty. Well, we can get into quali. And I am in the notes that we take for this, listeners, and Bex noted that quali was quite boring. And I do agree for the most part. However, I do have to say, I'm not saying I'm doing a hate watch on Liam, because he hasn't done enough to wrong me yet. I am on fraud watch, though. Yeah, I am on fraud watch. Because all I'm going to say is everybody who had Checo's name in their mouth was talking about, oh, he's always out in Q1. Oh, he can't drive the car. Blah, 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 blah. Liam's whole thing about Checo, when asked why he was the replacement for Checo, he's like, well, I don't just bring money and sponsorships. I bring like skill and talent, and that's why I got the job. Okay, you so big and skill and talented, and you crash out in Q1.
Why are you dragging that thing into the gravel every time you go around? Every time.
And the thing is, he's a rookie, so I want to give him grace. And every other rookie that crashed, I'm like, my poor sweet babies, no, what happened to you? With Liam, I'm like, if you're so big and bad, you should be
That's
fine
because
then.
Liam came in with all this attitude that he didn't need to have.
I feel the same way about Liam that I did about Nick DeVries back in 2023. No, where Nick DeVries kept saying, oh, I'm better than Yuki. I'm so experienced. The reason why I'm not really a rookie is because I'm so much older. I'm so experienced. And then he was absolute dog shit. And I'm like, if you had just come in like a normal human being,
yep,
I would have given you grace.
Yep.
Instead, you're sitting here chatting shit, saying you're so much better than these people. You bring skill, not money. What? Go finish a race and finish a qualifying session, and then start saying that stuff. Like, come on, you can't say that and crash out your first Q1, like for real. You especially can't crash out the same car that ended up in like the top 5 of the quality results. Like, let's be real. You gotta pull it together.
And Christian was talking about I can put anyone in that car. You clearly can't.
Clearly can't.
Clearly you cannot.
Yeah. So we will see. I'm on Fraud Watch is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is Fraud Watch. And maybe enough fraudulent sessions we get Yuki in that car. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wouldn't be mad at it.
Wouldn't be mad at it.
Not in the least
for my favorite Japanese driver.
Yes.
Well, the only Japanese driver, I should say.
Yes.
I will say, outside of Liam, I am proud of the rookies. They tried.
I love all the rookies. Love all the rookies. Speaking of a rookie, very sad. Ollie had a bad weekend. The worst weekend. Ollie, horrible first weekend. He crashed in FP2, and then he didn't make it out of the garage in Q1. And then, if I am not mistaken, I don't think the race goes well for him either.
The what?
So, I said, I don't think the race goes well for our sweet King Ollie either. So, that is very sad and upsetting. Sad face for Ollie.
And also too, I think with the rookie, it really was just sort of like an experience. And you heard the commentators kind of say that there's just these are things that you kind of just have to learn with time.
Mm-hmm.
And these are sort of because I'm not gonna lie, the oldest. Well, we kind of get it. Well, maybe we'll get into it and talk about the race. I won't skip ahead.
Yeah. But in Q1, we have Ollie, who didn't get out of the garage. Ocon, Lawson, Hulkenberg, and Antonelli. Gotta say, Hulkenberg getting out qualified by Bortoleto first race is crazy.
I was proud of Bortoleto.
I was proud of Bortoleto because here's the thing about Bortoleto, okay? We have Lawson getting out in Q1.
Yeah.
Okay? As part of his weekend press, Helmut Marko said that Bortoleto was a Class B driver, I think, who shouldn't have had his seat. Well, Class B driver who out-qualified Liam. So, what does that make
Also, quick question about Helmut Marko. And this is kind of from the race, but it's just a question about him. Why the fuck did they call him Dr. Helmut Marko? What is he the doctor of?
He is a doctor of psychology.
A doctor of something.
He is a doctorate. I'll look it up. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you.
I just saw they put Dr. Helmut Marko, and I was like, literally, what?
I will let you know, because he is a doctor. Like, he fully is a doctor. But I will let you know what he is a doctor.
During Q2, Bortoleto actually had a really bad spin out. Oh, what? Interesting. No, but Bortoleto actually, and I noticed that in Q2, he had this really bad spin out. Mm-hmm. But he almost spun out.
Yeah.
And he had a really good save. I know. I was like, okay, look at the young rookie showing some class and professionalism.
Yes.
Well, that's not the right word, but he's showing a proper skill.
Yes, and I love that for him.
Skill.
But yeah, I mean, it was a quite boring quali. I'm not gonna lie. Not too much more happened during it that happened. But yeah,
one thing I will say, Hajar coming just missing the cutoff for Q3. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was actually quite impressed, which is why I feel like what happened later on race day was quite disappointing. But I was actually really excited to see him. He came in he was on 11 on the grid, and I was like, good job, young rookie. Good job.
You did a good job.
Yes, I love it. I am ready for my little RB guy. I don't know if he's my top rookie because I do love Ollie so much.
Same.
But he's definitely up there. Definitely not my bottom rookie. So,
we all know who the bottom rookie is on this podcast.
I think I'm actively rooting for Hajar, Bortoletto, and Bierman Doohan. I'm kind of rooting for him to keep his seat. I'm not necessarily
I forgot about his whole 5 race contract situation.
I just want him to be able to keep his seat. Lawson, I don't know if I'm actively rooting against him, but I'm actively not rooting for him, if that makes any sense. And Antonelli, I want him. Do you know what? I'm rooting for Antonelli to just do better than George. I don't know why. I don't really actually care what he does on the grid, but I just really want him to do better than George. But I don't know if it's going to happen this year.
Yes. But in Q2, we have Bortoletto, Doohan, Stroll, Alonso, and Hodger who get out. Q3 is not that interesting. My main takeaway from Q3 is, and it's more of a social media takeaway, I think that the thing I found the funniest over the course of this weekend, and it started in quali, is watching Lewis fans who have zero experience watching how Ferrari operates watch Lewis experience Ferrari, and they're going, this is what has been going on? And Charles fans have been like, yes, bitch! We kept trying to tell y'all! We kept trying to tell you! And it's just not good.
The grass ain't green. Go back. Go back.
Literally.
Lewis was struggling with them.
Yes. And so I was I thought that was funny the whole weekend where I was watching Lewis fans be like, wait, what are they doing? And I'm like, guys, this is how it goes. If Lewis gets a championship in a Ferrari, it's going to be dragging them, kicking, screaming. It's going to be with blood, sweat, and tears.
Against their wishes.
Against their own will.
Literally. That's just what it's going to do to me. But Q3 does see Lando on pole, Oscar P2, and Max P3. My only takeaway from Lando on pole, because honestly, Max was so down on the Red Bull car coming into this weekend that I was like, I'll be happy if Max qualifies P7. I'll be happy if Max makes the Q3 the way he's talking.
Do you think that was a little gamesmanship on Max's part, downplaying
I spent most of the race and most of the weekend asking my friends the same question. Going to what extent was Max lying, and to what extent did they fix the car between practice and qualifying? Because they did change the car between practice and qualifying, and they've already said that they plan to bring extensive changes so that all of the issues are fixed by the 5th race. But this much to where Max was like, oh, I'll be lucky to make it out of Q2, to being like, oh, if race strategy had gone slightly different, we're winning. Very different realities.
He probably was,
he was giving a little extra spice, which, hey, yap, you're yap.
If they fall for it, they fall for it.
Exactly. But my only takeaway from Lando on pole is, there is this narrative that Lando spun, I believe, after qualifying and also after the race, where he keeps saying, everybody keeps talking about the car. They keep bringing up the car every time we talk about us doing well. The car's only better by a little margin. It's our scale. Me and Oscar drove well. That's why we're in these positions, right? And not only do I think it is insanely disrespectful to your team to pretend you don't have a rocket ship, right? It is also just like not what actually good sportsmen do. The amount of times over the past few years where when Max won by like 25 seconds and they would ask him like, oh, what do you think Charles should have done differently? There's like a notable interview where Max is like, I'm in a rocket ship?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't jack shit Charles could have done. Like,
bus driving wouldn't help him because his car can't do it.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, I'm a good driver, but I'm also in a fucking rocket ship. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, it is what it is, right? Lewis also would never be like, oh, well, actually, yeah, the car's like just fine. It's just like everybody else. It's all me. Like that's not true. And on top of not being true, it's also hypocritical because it's the same Lando Norris who, when Lewis had a dominant car and when Max had a dominant car, was running around telling everybody who would listen, oh, well, it's just the car under them. They should win every single race. And it's like, so you got to bring up everybody else's cars every time they won. But now, on the first race of the season, a reporter can't bring up a car to you once?
Nope.
That's insane. Also, why are they asking about the car? Last I checked, it's a motorsports interview. So that would be why they're asking about the car.
You are driving a race car? You are driving
a car. That annoyed the crap out of me because it's just like, come on, man. Like, we have you on tape asking the same shit about everybody else who's won since you started. Like, pack it up. Keep it real cute and sweet for the rest of the season. Acting like you don't have the fastest car is just like kind of stupid.
But
I never appreciate when anybody does it.
He's going to continue doing that.
No, he's going to do it.
If he continues to do well.
He's going to continue to do it because pretending like you don't have a rocket ship like allows you some leniency in how you end up performing, because then if you do badly, you can claim, oh, there was a car issue. Oh, we were slower today. Whereas if you admit you have a rocket ship and the next race Max beats you, then it's like, well, you had a rocket ship last race. There's nothing that could have happened. It's like, that's the whole, it's annoying, man. Like, we all can see the times. I don't know why you're like acting like this is true. I'm sorry. It's just not. They're already pissing me off and it's week one. Like, the entire McLaren pit wall acting like they don't have a good car is like pissing me the fuck off.
I mean, did you expect them to come in being sensical?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
They're just annoying me with them not admitting they have a good car.
Okay. He'll be all right.
It's okay. I mean, hey, this race went significantly better than I was expecting, so this is a win for your girl. Win for your girl. And that's what I'll say. Any more quali thoughts before we get into Australia GP?
No more quali thoughts.
Nope, I ain't got it. Got it.
Ladies, we have the Australian Grand Prix, and the Australian Grand Prix is hosted. Oh, you do your thing.
Yay to Alex and Yuki for their little
That's true. Yeah,
that was a little woo-woo. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Alex and Yuki did great. They made it into Q3. We love that for them. Outpaced their cars. Love it for our kings.
Go ahead.
All right. This week, I don't know if you guys noticed, we had the Formula One Louis Vuitton Australian Grand Prix.
Was not the official name like a few weeks ago, because I went through I actually wrote down all the official names, and that was not it.
Yeah, so Louis Vuitton's a new sponsor, so I'm not surprised that they updated the name like just now. But also,
so Louis Vuitton is an F1 sponsor now.
I believe it's a new F1 sponsor. I could be wrong,
but they announced that they were sponsored like a few months ago.
Yeah, so I don't know why they just updated the names.
They just updated the names, yeah. So,
but also another sponsor change. We switched over from Rolex to Tag Heuer. It's not working for me.
I was like, how are you supposed to be? I'm so sorry. When I think of Formula One, I think of rich. I think of money. I think of luxury. Tag is like what homies down, like homies who have a little bit of money, like the tech bros, finance bros, they'll get themselves a tag and think they've done something, like, entry level finance bro, when I think of Rolex, I think of someone who has a little bit more money. Obviously, I know Rolex is not like the creme de la creme of watches, but and also too, like the Rolex with the nice little like.
Yeah, for me, what it comes down to is that the fucking starting clock is ugly as fuck now.
It's really
the logo
ugly.
That's what pissed me off.
For me, yeah, because like Tag is just so.
It looked like a scuba diving watch. It looked like a sports diving watch.
Yeah, is industrial the word I'm looking for?
To me, it looks like athletic. Like, why does it look like it's made out of rubber?
That's what I'm saying. It looks like. Yeah. It looks just not.
It's not cute. Because Tag has good watches. I've seen the hot Max Verstappen Tag Heuret. Okay, so I know you have better watches than this. Why are we using this ugly ass red outline for the clock? Y'all could do some sleek black metal or something. The red was too much for me. I didn't appreciate the red.
Like
anyway, we can talk about Tag Heuret at a later date. We are at Albert Park Grand Prix Circuit this year. The first Grand Prix was held in 1996. We have 58 laps. We traversed over a circuit length of 5.2 kilometers. That's like 3.2 miles. They kept switching back and forth throughout the entire broadcast, so kind of confused why they kept doing that. But besides the point, and we have 4 DRS zones, but 2 DRS detection points. Note that one.
I don't understand how that.
So basically, and it's also difficult because the numbering of the DRS zones is kind of stupid. DRS zone 4 happens after turn 1. Don't ask me why. But basically, there's DRS zones 1 and 2, and then there's a direct detection point, and then there's DRS zones 3 and 4. So for example, if you're behind at turn 12, you'll pass the detection point. And if you pass them going into turn 14, you'll still get DRS because at the detection zone, you were behind them.
Yeah,
okay.
It's
2 and 2 aren't making 4 here for me. I'm so sorry.
Okay. That's okay. 2 and 2 don't have to make 4. You can look at this map that I'm about to send into the chat.
Please
and
do.
I'm sure it'll make sense to you once you look at the website. Anyways, we can get started with, out of character for us, our formation lap.
Oh baby. That poor baby.
For context, it was rainy in Australia this week. It was actually so rainy that the F2 race right before the F1 race got cancelled. Or if you look at the graphic, pinacled. Fun internet meme for you to go find.
Their spelling, because did you see the Bortoletto and Charles Leclerc? They misspelled their names, and I'm like, if someone is illiterate writing these signs, that's okay. Just remove yourself. From this position, because this is really embarrassing.
Really. And I'll send you the post with the spelling errors, Felicia, so you can actually see them. But we start with a wet race. Everybody's on inters except for Lance Stroll, who's on wets. And then we start our formation lap, and very sadly,
poor
baby Isaac Hanjar crashes during the formation lap, which leads us to an aborted start. I felt so bad for him.
When I saw Lewis's dad comforting him, I was like, "Oh, that poor."
Because he was crying, and they kept following him with the camera, and he kept his helmet on because he was crying, and I'm like, can we just leave him a second?
Actually wondering with V-Carb, I'm like, why don't you have a press officer with him, like standing in the way of a camera? So
They're literally chasing this man down as he's just probably inconsolable underneath that helmet.
Exactly. And it was sad. I felt really bad for him. And the way he
crashed, I was like, oh, that's so shitty.
Because
they're like, he hit like a wet spot or something dumb like that, and he just spun out. And I was
literally just like the paint is more slippery because these are public paint marks. They're slippery and aren't meant to be driven by slick tires in wet conditions.
Also, is that why so many of them kept going off into the gravel?
Yeah.
I think I kept being like, for like 2 more crashes.
Yeah, we had like at least, I think, the rookies and Alonso.
Alonso crashed.
A lot of them crashed due to the white lines. But it was so sad. I guess we can cover this in post press, but all I'm going to say is fuck Helmut Marko.
Yeah,
always.
Fuck him.
He can go to hell, always.
But we'll cover that in the post race press. We then get to our start. Everybody's lined up. We don't have any issues with our aborted start this time. Glad that they clarified the rules since some people couldn't read them last time. And we...
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't know why everybody's acting like I said anything. I said I'm glad they clarified the rules.
Oh,
anyway.
Okay. I didn't know there was clarification that needed to. You know what?
There literally was clarification that needed to happen.
I know there's clarification that needed to be. Whatever. I know what you're trying to get at, but you're not slick. And that's why when you keep talking about, I'm not a hater. I'm not hating. Hating behavior.
I'm only hating occasionally.
Okay.
But at least she admits to it.
It's true. All right. So
one thing I think we forgot to mention is that Liam and Ollie
start from the pit lane.
Both start from the pit lane, which I was actually shocked at Liam. I knew Ollie was going to start the pit lane because he didn't qualify and he had to go by like his practice time, I believe, to even be able to get a spot on but I didn't realize at first that Liam started from the pit lane.
Why did Liam start from the pit?
I can imagine
they changed something in park for me.
Yeah, okay. That's what it was.
And with Ollie, if he, with him not qualifying, but since they still technically had a lap time from him, why did he start from the pit and not just at the back of the grid?
Because he didn't qualify.
But you said they used his time. So what does his time? Why is his time even relevant?
His time is like the key that gets you into being able to race. Not that they're going to use your time as your qualifying time. More so, like in order to race, you have to qualify to stop people from just like obviously registering in the former world where you could just like show up or whatever, right? Stop somebody from just like registering for the race, right? Or stop them from purposely tire saving. To be like, okay, well, we're going to just, like, if we think our guy's going to qualify 20th anyway, we'll just have him not qualify, and then we'll have extra tires, right? Stop stuff like that from happening.
Got you.
So, that's why we ended up having that from Ollie and Liam. But, we get to an actual start, which sees Max try to go up, I believe, the inside on Lando. Honestly, I thought Max was going to plant his flag there and, like, it's the first race. If we crash, we crash. But he actually showed a little bit of restraint. Whether he should have, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that one because I actually don't know what would have happened with that. But he does end up being able to overtake Oscar. And we are all looking forward to a fun, funky race. And then Jack Doohan crashes on lap 1. Brings out a safety car.
I was like, you know what, rookies? I was expecting a lot of, with the weather, I was expecting a lot of crashes. I was just kind of hoping it was going to be a little bit more interesting, a la Valtteri Bottas. But,
you thought you wanted them to take out half
she wanted to go
I didn't say I wanted. No, I didn't say. I just was like, I didn't say I wanted. I just said that, that's what I was kind of expecting, But I think those who had more experience kind of took off, and the rookies were kind of left to their own devices a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why they weren't taking anyone out.
Very questionable. But Jack's crash obviously sparks a safety car, and so the safety car is cooled. Now, critical, under a safety car, you're obviously going slow. You're not going at your full speed. That did not stop Carlos Sainz from crashing behind the safety car on the next lap and counting our third DNF in 2 laps of this.
I was like, when I saw Carlos crash, I was like, what was he doing? That caused him to crash.
He said it was due to a massive torque surge.
Yeah.
What that actually means,
I don't know.
Yeah. I was just like, don't know how you did that, sir, but I guess
He managed.
And then, because he crashed, we were under the safety. Because the two crashes now. The safety car, they were behind the safety car for so freaking long.
She froze. Okay.
Well,
all
good
right.
luck
We're
to
gonna
her.
give
I
her a
was
second.
just like,
Yeah.
Oh, is she back?
There she goes. Here she comes.
Okay, there you
She
go.
coming. She
oh,
coming.
I was talking this whole time and no one could hear me.
No, ma'am. Sure couldn't. Surely
Sorry,
couldn't.
It's
It's
okay.
internet's a little spotty. But no, I was just saying, like, first they had to deal with Marshall had to deal with Jack Doone's crash, then Carl Stein's car. And then I was just like, they were behind that safety car for so freaking long. I was like,
Yeah. We are behind the safety car from lap 1, obviously, when Jack crashed, all the way to lap 7, when the safety car came in.
Funny enough, when you say it like that, it actually doesn't seem like it was that long. But watching
6 laps
it
of safety car to clear those cars is a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Now, I felt like the safety car was out for a minute.
Yeah, it was out for a good bump. But also, notably, it's like a little bit wet, so they're already driving at a lower speed anyway. But the track was starting to dry out, so we start getting all the talk of what's going on. You have people pitting for new sets of inters because they're getting worn down by the slowly drying out track. But come lap 8, we are back in the action. We have safety car infringement accusations coming out for Yuki and Fernando. Max, was close to Lando at the safety car restart, but Lando, kept it ahead. And then by lap 12, DRS is back. It's enabled. Me, personally, I understand why they can't have DRS when it's, like, raining badly. Yes. I totally get that. I have the personal opinion that if there's not active rain falling, we can turn on DRS. Like, I think we can bring out the DRS as long as rain isn't actively falling. I think it's fine. Like, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. They can use their good judgment of whether or not DRS should be used in that moment.
I mean, but the thing is, then you have those people who are like, "Oh, we can try it out," and it's just not going to be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
Desperate times, desperate measures. Our next interesting thing that happens is on lap 16, when we get Kimmy doing a little spin. Little spin out. He managed to recover. In fact, Kimmy had a fantastic race, so good thing that he managed to recover and actually keep going, because it ended up working out really well for him. Top rookie of the day by far, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, while that is the next notable thing that happened, I do believe at this point in the race, the Ferraris are still behind Alex Albon. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that is correct, because in my notes I have Lewis can't get around to Williams. Is he not embarrassed?
I mean,
because I would have been.
Back.
It was embarrassing. It was pretty embarrassing. I'm not gonna...
But also, Lewis was going back and forth with the pit wall the entire race.
Yeah.
The amount of times I heard that man say, "Leave me to it."
Yeah. It was a bad radio weekend for Ferrari. It was a bad radio weekend for Ferrari. I will say that for sure.
Oh, my favorite is coming up.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a bad one. So we're chugging along. People are obviously trying to figure out their tire strategies. Max is asking to pit, but it's drying up, but then it's also going to rain, but it's drying up, but then it's also going to rain. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. And our next notable thing, which I think might be what Bex is referencing, is that in lap 25, Charles asks if there's a leakage in his car.
A leakage of what?
A leakage of what? What?
I have a seat full of water.
Yes. So Charles ends up having a seat full of water. His engineer is like, a leakage full of what? A leakage of what? Charles is like, water. My leak, my seat is full of water.
Okay, you want to say what he said? I wrote it all down.
You give. Okay, give us the quote. Give us the quote.
It says, Charles, is there a leakage?
Damn it.
A leakage of what?
That's really
Charles,
funny.
I have a seat full of water, like full of water. Ferrari.
Exactly.
Must be
you
the
gotta
water.
say it again. You got smushed.
You froze clean.
Smushed. Frozen.
Charles,
Yes.
is there a leakage? Ferrari, a leakage of what? Charles, I have a seat full of water, like full of water. Ferrari, must be the water. Charles, let's add that to the words of wisdom.
Well, it's just so
And
funny.
do all of
Because
that
also,
in
like,
it. You have to. I was like, you have to add Charles's Monegascan accent as well.
yes. And it's just so funny because it's like Charles is asking you guys because you guys have all the data on the car. So when he says, "Do I have a leakage?" and you guys go, "Of what?"
That's what he's asking.
Up with what
He's
the
like,
fuck
I'm
is
trying
leaking
to
in my car?
make sure this is actually water and not something I need to be concerned about.
Yeah, it's a mess. They really had my man. They had my man in the trenches. At this point, Max is falling far behind Oscar and Lando. Oscar is like slowly getting up to Lando. I think is within like 0.6 seconds, and this is when shit starts to hit the fan. Because as soon as Oscar gets within half a second of Lando,
and they were
all of a
just
sudden,
right behind each other.
All of a sudden, Oscar, let's hold positions and wait to transition to slicks and clear the back markers. Bitch!
I just love the sassy Oscar. I'm faster, but okay.
Okay. Like, it is race one. It is race one. Zach Brown spent the entire race weekend going, we're going to let them race. We're going to let them race. We haven't picked a number one. We're going to let them race. Every single time. I must have seen 45 fucking clips of Zach Brown saying, we're going to let them race.
He gets close to Lando.
Oh, hold positions while we clear the back markers. How about we let logic dictate, right? Obviously, Oscar isn't going to try and pass Lando while they're overtaking a fucking back marker. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would he do that? Situationally, he will not be in a position to pass him while they're both trying to overtake a back marker. What are we doing here? We don't need to make up these lies and make up these excuses. You could just say, hold positions because we're telling you to and because we want you to not show that you can pass Lando and beat him. Like, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do this. And I think this is the beginning of the end of Oscar's race. I would like to note, I don't think Oscar would have had his incident later if he was leading and happy and loving life.
Well,
so, hate that for my king. Hate that for my king. But, you know, of course, Oscar then makes a slight mistake, dips his tire into the gravel, ends up 3 seconds back, and then is told that he is free to race Lando. Now he is 3 seconds away. My God. My God. Like, why do we play games? Like, they piss me off.
Also, y'all could have just kept your mouth shut. You could have just, at that point, you could have just kept your mouth shut.
You could have, or I was just like, the thing is, I just don't like lying about team orders. Like, you can just be blatant about your team orders. They're not illegal anymore. Like, just don't tell the press we're going to let them race, blah, 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 blah. And then you're free to race him, but you just can't get too close. Guys, you know what? I'll maybe give it to McLaren. Maybe it was because of the back markers in the wet race. So we'll tune back in China. We'll check it out in China and see what happens.
It's gonna be the same thing. I don't know why you even saying that.
Gearbox. No.
I don't know why you even saying that.
I'm giving them a chance to pretend like they're going to prove any of us wrong.
You're going to give Zach Brown a chance.
When they don't, and they do exactly what we think they're going to do, that's between them and Christ, you know? Our next notable thing is Fernando spins out. Same gravel trap situation. Causes another safety car. And he DNFs. And this is the like slick transition. This is when they all start transitioning back over to slicks. So we got some people on mediums, some people on hards, but the wet tires are one at this point for the time being. We will say. We are over halfway through the race at this point. Now that Fernando has crashed, I feel like, I don't think there's anything notable that happened in the safety car except for just like everybody going. We start to get notes about there being class 2 or 3 rain for 1-ish laps, which is a lot of rain. And we start to hear lots and lots of debate. We actually start to hear too many radios from Lando. Not because not because of my personal feelings for Lando, but because he's not good at enunciating on the radio. I don't expect him to be. He's driving a really fast car. I'm not asking you to enunciate. I am asking the broadcasters to put the captions to Lando's radio every time they put a Lando radio. I can never hear what that man is saying. I can never understand what he's saying. Because he's just talking in British. And I'm just
talking in British?
Yes, he's talking in British. He's talking in British. And it's clear that, like, he hasn't done the thing where Lewis has scrubbed himself so clean that he might as well have an elocution coach, where Lewis goes to the meeting, he's like, do I have the this and the that? And then George is like, actually, I'm from the Queen's England and I speak Queen's England. Like, Lando speaks like a normal-ass British person, which is great for Lando, happy for him, makes him unlistenable on the radio when he's going at high speeds. I'm like, you don't have the kind of diction and elocution to be easily understood at high speed when you're under stress, so I need them to put the captions for him. But thankfully, we have the race notes, so we know that he was going back and forth about whether or not they should pit before it starts raining or during starting raining. Lando wanted to box before, and just in case, his pit wall was telling him, bro, if this rain misses us, we're fucked. Like, if you pit and then it doesn't rain, like, your race is over. So all this is still happening. They're still arguing under the safety car. This safety car lasted 7 laps, so even longer than the other one that we had earlier, because Fernando was once again in like a really uncomfortable, weird spot. And notably, they had to put a tractor on the track to come get him. We will get back to that at a later date in the post-press, because people had something to say. But we get the safety car in lap 41. It is basically confirmed that there's going to be heavy rain for like 2-ish laps. And so obviously we all start to get a little bit squirrely because the rain has started, but nobody has actually pitted for inters. Then we get to lap 44. And this is where shit starts becoming interesting, because a lot happens in the next 90 seconds of the race. The entire race is decided in the next 90 seconds of the race, actually.
That's so sad.
It's absolute insanity.
Basically.
It's absolute insanity. So, let me set the scene. We've got Max tailing Oscar, tailing Lando. Okay? It's raining. It's still slick level rain, but we're getting there for sure. And we're focused on some midfield fuckery, right? And the entirety of this, like, starting to rain stuff, we're looking at the pit wall and we're looking at the midfield. And all of a sudden, we cut camera. And all we see is 2 McLarens sliding through the gravel. The cheer I let out on my couch was insane. I was so happy until I realized what was going on, and I was like, oh my god, no. 1, Lando got out of the gravel, but also 2, Oscar definitely got the worst of the gravel. So, like, this is the worst of both worlds. But obviously that pushes Oscar back up into Max. Max manages to overtake after Oscar has his actual second little slide. As an outcome of, like, I feel like being fucked up by the first slide kind of just got him all jumbled up.
Well,
And Oscar slides across into the grass. Now, everybody thought Oscar was done.
No.
Everybody thought Oscar was down and out.
No.
And I saw somebody say on what social media platform, cannot remember. And then on the third day, like Christ, Oscar rose. He rose again.
Come back, Gary.
Somebody said that on Twitter. I didn't say that. But Oscar manages to reverse and get back out on the track, saving Lando's race.
I thought them things can't reverse very well.
They can't reverse very well. That was sheer power of will from Oscar.
Right.
Like, he didn't want to DNF at his home race, and also I think he was well aware that with how close Max was to Lando after after that situation, it makes it so that either both of them pit onto inters and Max is still on Lando's ass, or Max goes and pits for inters, and then Lando is absolutely fucked and will end up behind Max for sure.
Yes.
So I think it was both. And Oscar manages to wheel himself off and get back onto the road, rejoining in P15. So his race is done. I mean, he got points, but his race is done.
He still did way better than you would think someone would do after that.
Yes, but we start getting a lot of the wet race pitting, and everybody, doing their thing.
Diving into the
pits. Lando dives in. He's in P6. Lando doing that means that we have Max in P1, Lewis in P2, and Pierre in P3. There's a whole thing where Max is going to pit, but then he doesn't pit, but then he's going to pit, but then he doesn't pit, and eventually he does end up pitting. He has to, behind George manages to overtake him. And I know what you're saying. Felicia, you just said that he has to pit because the rain is coming down, and only idiots would leave their drivers out on hard, slick tires with absolutely no grip at all. Right?
Unless you're
Ferrari. My God.
The frustration I had was like, they like, Lewis isn't pitting. I was like, what do they know that I don't know? Then the safety car came out, and I was like, oh, maybe they know something. Then I was like, no, they don't. Because they had to pit it. Like, it was just like, I was like, I actually gave them more credit than they deserved in that like quick moment. And I was just like, girl, you know better. Don't do that.
They don't.
I was just like,
they don't.
I was like, why is Lewis passing up the pit lane? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? Why is everyone else pitting and Lewis and Charles have not pitted?
Why are y'all still out here?
Because y'all are nonsensical people who aren't serious about racing.
Like, Fred, I think you need to talk to your engineers and your weather people. Because Freddie, come get your people. Come get your people for it.
Gotta figure something out. It was truly disgraceful. And it was just like, it made me so mad. Because I was sitting there, I was like, I get it. You see that your cars are in P1 and P2, and you're like, oh, you let us stay out. You should have the good sense. Max stayed out too long. Max's ass should have pitted the lap before. And when Max said, I want to box, they should have let him box. Because he would have won the fucking race if he had boxed a literal lap before. Okay? Yeah. And then y'all saw how Max got overcut by the people who pitted before him. And you still left Lewis and Charles out there?
Sure did. They sure did.
It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Absolute disaster.
It was a bit of a clusterfuck.
A lot of a clusterfuck. So eventually they pit Lewis and Charles, fucking their races and sending them right on down to P9 to fight with the midfielders for a single point. That was absolutely crazy watching Lewis beef with who was it even? It was like a midfield team that I was watching Lewis fight with, like, for
Alpine. Wasn't it Alpine?
Oh yes,
was it Alpine?
Okay. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Which we'll get to in a second. But before we can get Lewis and Charles fighting with an Alpine for P9, P10, fighting for the last points, Fraud Watch tuned in, and Liam went to the barriers, and then Bortoletto, not Fraud watching him, went into the barriers as well. 2
Yeah,
cars, 1 safety car.
Poor thing.
Poor thing. But we get that safety car for like 5 more laps. And it is
this is what, 3rd or 4th safety car?
3rd safety car, I think.
3rd? Okay.
I think 3rd. Before we get into the end of the race and, Charles and Lewis's situation, who got their points and who where, I want to cover a note that I found in Bex's notes. And Jesus. I was actually going to ask you, Felicia, if you had contributed to the notes at all, but it sounds like you did not contribute to these notes, right?
I did not. I have my own notes.
Oh, fantastic. Because that means that Bex left a question in here that I want to call out, where Beck said, can a race end on a safety car? Because that's what it's looking like could happen.
I
don't know, Bex. Can a race end on a safety car? Maybe,
to be honest, I think
that feels should have ended on a safety car.
No, I think that I have sort of blocked out the
trauma.
The trauma, there you go, of Abu Dhabi 2021. So I have no recollection of that when I was writing. So, my bad. My bad.
I want the listeners to know that when I opened up the doc and saw the question, can a race end on a safety car, I almost called these two and went, who the fuck put this in the notes? Are you people for real right now? But I didn't. I held off so I could get it on camera.
I completely forgot about Abu Dhabi 2021. I act like it didn't happen. You know what? It's kind of like wiped from my memory. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes up again during the season. I'm like, oh, can I safety car? You'll have to remind me again because when I saw that, I was like, oh,
she doesn't want to think about it. She is completely non-existent in her mind. Like, nope.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. Well, we basically wrap up the race. We have Pierre, Charles, and Lewis fighting for the lower points. We have Oscar fighting for the lower points. And the only notable thing is that Kimmy gets marked, I believe, for like an unsafe release or for some sort of penalty at the end, which I'm going to talk about in the post-race press a little bit because it does end up getting revoked, and I'm going to talk about it getting revoked. Not because I'm hitting on Kimmy, but because of something else that happened. But we end up with Lando winning, Max very close behind him. Max was, I believe, within a second by the end of the race. And then we have George on a sneaky podium run coming in for 3rd.
Where the fuck did George come from?
Don't even know.
Where the fuck did George
He was just sitting there,
don't even know,
letting everyone else do their own work and take themselves
out. Lurking for real. And I want to go through the rest of the point scores because we've left ourselves in quite an interesting position with this first race and all of its fuckery. So 4th place, we have Alex Albon in a Williams.
I'm proud of Alex.
I'm proud of him. In 5th place, we have sweet baby angel Kimi Antonelli bringing home 10 points in his debut. In 6th place, we have Lance Stroll.
Another one. Where the fuck did he come from?
In 7th place, we have Nico Hulkenberg in a Sauber, scoring the only points Sauber's going to get this year.
A Sauber!
How?
Nico probably just got Sauber tens of millions of dollars with those 6 points.
Mind you, after
his one race win was like what, more than what they got all of last year?
It was close. It was close for sure. It might be more than what they got last year. In 8th, we have Charles. Hate that for him. In 9th, we have Oscar. Good recovery drive. And in 10th, taking home the last point.
Yep.
Lewis, 8th World Championship potential. Hamilton.
How did you let... Well, never mind. I'm about to say, how did he let Oscar pass him? But Oscar's cars... Oscar may have fumbled, but he knows how to drive, and he has a rocket ship of a car, so...
Yes.
Lewis probably had no choice.
No, for real. All right.
Lewis was busy arguing with the pit wall.
Yeah, about whatever K1, whatever K1 is. I don't know.
What the fuck is K1?
Couldn't answer for you. Don't.
Because they kept trying to get him to... Okay, anyway.
When I find out, I'll text you guys.
Thank you.
But
I was confused.
I have a couple post-race pieces, and then we can, get into a question of the pod and talk about the Chinese Grand Prix. And one of my post-race pieces is Kimi Antonelli got a 5-second penalty that dropped him back, and then it got overturned. Love that for him. I don't know if anybody remembers after the Belgian Grand Prix last year, some sort of Grand Prix, it might not be the Belgian one, where Toto's been notable to say this a couple times when Lewis has gotten fucked by the stewards, where he was like, there's no point in arguing with the stewards after the race. I don't try to get things overturned. Blah, 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 blah.
Meanwhile, it happens to Kimmy, and you up in arms.
So that's all I have to say. This is my Toto hate watch moment.
Okay.
So I had to bring that one up. But then also, I want to call us back to when Alonso crashed and there was a tractor on the track that they were driving by in the wet. So,
and no Pierre was pissed.
Yes. So they asked the top three, Lando, George, and Max, how they felt about that. And they basically all were like, ha 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 ha, I don't really care, it's fine.
Yep.
I feel like we could have a
We're
little bit more tact.
Things.
More tact.
Do we need the F1 history lesson, boys?
Because they also were like, oh, well, if you crash under these kind of conditions behind the safety car, like, you're an idiot. You probably shouldn't be in F1, so it's not really a concern to have the tractor there. And I'm like, guys.
That's not the concern. That's not the concern,
like,
guys.
One, that's not the concern. But also, two, like, there were 5 bitches who did. 5 bitches crashed.
Who crashed?
And, like, 3 of them crashed under a safety car. Like, it's plenty possible to crash under a safety car when you're going not that fast.
I was so confused when they were driving, and, like, you see the safety cars, like, in the gravel, but, like, obviously they can't follow the safety cars. Like, you see Lando, like, slightly maneuver, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
Why can't we just red flag it? I feel like they're so scared to throw a red flag and, like, reset the race.
Why?
And I'm like, but you guys love to throw a red flag when it's, like, then insane to do so. At last year's Australia, you threw a red flag on the second to last lap.
Yeah.
And y'all were like, that makes sense. That one could have been a safety car. Or you could have just not done the last 2 laps. Like, it
didn't make sense to me. I thought it was very dangerous. And I'm sure, what are their names? Pierre and Sean were very triggered.
Yeah.
Situation. Also, I'm sure that them saying that in the press conference did not give Charles or Pierre much comfort either.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, because you can always just say, like, oh, I want us to be safe, and blah, 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 blah. Like,
something. But a tractor on track is crazy, though.
Tractor on track is crazy. All right, well, that was the Australian Grand Prix. I was happy. I think I'm looking forward to the Chinese Grand Prix. Wish Joe were driving, but look to send one up for my homie. Maybe Ferrari will have him do some fun press.
I know. Seeing Joe in the little Ferrari red, I was like, look at you. Look at you.
So that's it for the Australian Grand Prix. The Chinese Grand Prix is next week. And have you guys looked at these times for the Chinese Grand Prix yet?
Looked at the what?
I haven't.
Okay, well, I'll let you guys know right now.
Wait, look at the what?
For the Chinese Grand Prix, the times.
Oh, at 2, I think, our time.
So the Chinese Grand Prix is a sprint weekend, first and foremost, so we have more things to watch. Sprint qualifying is Friday at 2:30 a.m. for y'all. The sprint is Friday at 10 p.m. for y'all. Quali is 2 a.m. Saturday for y'all, so 4 hours after the sprint. And the race is 2 a.m. Sunday for y'all.
So
I have an extra long weekend, so I'll be all right.
No, I won't be, because I'm packed, because I gotta do my stuff on Friday. I got something to do Saturday morning, and I have a full day Sunday. Live watching is gonna be a little bit difficult, so y'all gotta send some prayers up for me so I can watch all this. I'll figure out a way to, obviously, but
I believe in you.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited.
It'll be so good. All right. Well, I don't have a pop culture question to ask you. So instead, I guess we'll ask the baddies. As everybody knows, it is Lent. Yay! 40 days and 40 nights.
And Ramadan.
What's everybody... Yes, and Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Yes. What is everybody giving up for Lent? Or are you giving anything up for Lent? Or are you fasting for Ramadan?
I'm a heathen, so not a damn thing. So sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bex, are you giving up anything for Lent?
So, my church is actually doing the Daniel fast, but I am not. But I have decided.
Cue us into the Daniel fast. Tell the baddies about the Daniel fast.
Nah, that's a lot. Y'all go look it up yourselves. So sorry, but it's basically
look it up. It's a lot.
I'll give you a general idea. It's basically no meat, no dairy. You can't even, like, some people think like, oh, okay, I just be like, if I have a vegan diet, I'll be fine. No, there are things on a vegan diet that you still cannot eat.
Unleavened bread.
Yep.
Unleavened bread. You can't even have
no, that's where they lose me.
Where you can't even have things that like imitate meat, like so you can't have like Impossible Burger, or you can't have things like that.
Nope.
It's supposed to be just your fruits, just your vegetables, your grains, water. Like even I think some people were saying like, oh, can I just do like a smoothie for breakfast? You cannot. You can only have like you can only
added sugar concerns.
Well, it's not even that. No, it's technically like it's also like how you eat. No, it's also like how you eat.
Processed.
No, like you cannot just. It's like a weird thing. Like you can't just have the drink as your meal. You can have the smoothie if it's like a drink for your meal. If that makes any sense. It's really weird. It's not weird, I should say. It's really strict.
So you can't do. So basically, you're saying you can't do like meal replacements type thing.
There you go. I think that's kind of what it's getting.
You have to eat like whole foods.
Yeah, and so like you could have a smoothie, but it has to be like almost like a drink. It would
be a beverage.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
You can't have white rice.
No, no, you can't have white rice at all.
But I thought you could have grains.
No, you can have only whole grains that are the entire kernel of bran, germ, and endosperm. So no white rice or white flour.
You know what? No. See, this is why I'm a heathen.
Be quiet. No, but I'm not doing it. However, I've decided to give up soda. I've decided to give up ice cream and alcohol. Unfortunately, I did not make it this entire week. I didn't make it the entire week. It is what it is, babe. But I'm trying, and so obviously today is Sunday.
You can do a sunrise to sunset. Bring it all together.
It's Sunday, so we don't technically have to fast on Sunday. So I have like a nice little soda today, but tomorrow I'm back on it, and I'm going to try my hardest and my darndest to make it through the week without giving in. So yeah. What are you giving up for?
I don't know if the Lord gonna hear it, but I'm afraid for you.
After
I gave up TikTok for Lent. Now, was I already giving up TikTok and I haven't watched TikTok since January 19th? That is true. However, I'm continuing my give up-ery. I've not clicked the TikTok app since January 19th.
Good for you. You know what? I wish I was a little stronger.
Lot waiting for you when you come back because I have been sending nonsense.
Everybody has been sending me so many TikToks. I get the notifications for them all the time, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to my TikTok, and it's going to be a disaster.
Notifications?
I forget to turn off notifications to everything.
And I've decided I don't. If I need to know, I will go and find it. I've turned off my notifications to a lot of things this year. It's annoying. It's too annoying. Yeah. But wait, are you planning on going back?
Lent. Yes, because I was going to go back for the F1 season so I could get F1 edits and news. However, I have not done that. And then
honestly, a lot of them wind up on Instagram anyway. So
yeah, a lot. I actually don't really watch Instagram Reels anyway. So
smart.
Yeah, I've been really getting into long form variant Sudoku videos. So
you
had me long form. We lost your Sudoku. Like, long form.
You know what? What I will not yuck your yum, baby. I won't do it.
I will.
I'll show you guys. One of
No,
my
I'm
favorites.
okay. I'm gonna take your word for it, Sweet Pea.
You'll love it.
You can no. Mm-mm.
All right. Well, baddies, I will leave you to it. I will see you next week. Very sleep deprived and very tired for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Bye, ladies. And
Bye,
baddies.
plan out my week
And
around
viewers.
And viewers.
And viewers.
Please excuse my faces that
Bye-bye.
I've made. I kind of forgot we were recording, so I'm making some weird
Girl,
faces.
that's the fun
That's
part
okay.
is the faces you make. So
It's
come on.
okay. That's okay.
Don't fix your face.
That too. All right. Actually, my listeners and viewers,
Bye.
bye.